Hey everyone, welcome back to Simply Scented Life. Rachel here with a sort of two-part video today. We are going to be following up on my experience with a small business that I shared back in probably September. I don't know, the time is flying, but around the September time frame, I ordered from a few small businesses, and one of them was Spooky Soul Candle Co. They are a small business out of California. I believe there's an Etsy shop, which I will have all the company information in the description of this video. But I did a small order with them, and I wanted to follow up first here on how it's been going with the candles that I ordered. And I did a second order recently, which came in, I think, earlier this week, that I've already started burning a little bit. So I wanted to share what I have going on here in my second order. Now today, because I've already done a little bit of a small business spotlight on this company, I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about the company itself. We will talk about a few little things that are sort of pertinent to today. But if you want to go back and check that video out, I suggest you do. I will link that in the description here as well. The owner, Stephanie, is a really, really sweet person, just very nice, very helpful, and I'm going to share a little bit more about how sweet she was to me as we get into the second part of this video. But for starters, we're going to kind of take a look at I had 3 candles in that first order, and I will kind of just go through them one by one. None of them are finished. I did put considerable burn time on each of them, but none of them have been finished. Part of the reason I have not finished them is because her burn time is up to 100 hours. That is largely because she uses a blend of soy and coconut wax, which has a little bit, as they say, lower melting point. It takes a little bit longer to burn through them. So no, I have not been like timing out my burns per se, but what I can tell you guys is based on the size and the format here, 2 of them are 3 wicks, 1 is a single wick, but just based on the 3 wick here version here, like comparing it to other brands that are 100% soy with no coconut wax in there, the burn time is definitely taking me longer to get through these 3 wicks than other comparable brands in 100% soy. So there definitely is some truth behind that up to 100 hours of burn time. So no, again, I can't say I've timed it out, to the exact hours of how many hours I'm getting in here with each candle, but it is definitely, they're lasting longer than my typical 3 wicks. So I think we will start with that's a loud crash. We will start with the little guy here, and I'll show you why I made that loud crash here in a minute. This was an add-on to my first order. This was a little sort of specialty Halloween single wick pumpkin candle here, and this was like a really great price. It was, I think, $16, something like that, which was lower than I've seen other vendors selling this style jar for. And the scent was great. It was a pumpkin buttercream and caramel popcorn scent, which typically I'm not a big popcorn scent person, but this I actually really, really like. And the scent here, I won't like rave too much about it, but in case she ever brings it back, this will be here as a reference. But the scent itself being a nice, sweet, creamy, frosting-ish pumpkin with just a little bit of spice. It's not an overly spicy scent. Definitely getting that caramel note here with the popcorn. I didn't write down all the scent notes here for this one, but definitely a sort of caramel pumpkin leaning scent with that hint of popcorn in there that isn't overtaking the scent, which I really liked. And I will tell you guys, for a single wick, this was decently strong. I won't say a powerhouse, but it was decently strong. It was probably a noticeable medium intensity, and it burned pretty well. It does take a while to pool, especially like the single wick. Once you get to like the wider point of this jar, it definitely takes a little while to pool. But one thing I did find with this one, what I ended up doing is I had a Luminolid from Yankee Candle kind of laying around here. Most of my Illumilids are collecting dust now because I don't use too many single wick candles these days, and you really cannot put these, just a public service announcement here, don't put these aluminum lids on multi-wick candles. They can get very, very hot, too hot. They can shatter. It's not good. Don't do it. But because this was a single wick and I was watching it very closely, I did pop this a little aluma lid on the top here, and it doesn't sit perfectly, but this is like one of those flat ones. They have some that kind of bridge down over the jar, but this flat one kind of worked perfectly here, and it just helped kind of even out the burn a little bit. I also popped this in a sort of open hurricane, so that kind of helped trap the heat a little bit more, making sure I got even pools here. And I mean, you could see there's a little bit of residual up around the side here. But I mean, it still pooled all the way to the sides and did pretty well for a single wick. So I was impressed with this. If she does another one of these next year, I would probably buy it, especially if it was in a different scent to try. But this was really good. All right, the next one here, this is a 3-wick, and this is kind of her standard format that she offers is 3-wick candles here. This is 17 ounces, and you know what, I think I said, I probably said up to 100 hours burn time before. This says 90. I think I was having, you know, a moment. Go with 90, that's what it says on here. But either way, you're getting a really long time of burn hours out of these candles. But this one, and I've always promised you 100% honesty, guys, this was probably the least impressive of all 3 that I got. And not that it was bad, it just, this one was pretty light. And the notes here, I kind of anticipated this going in. We have spiced pumpkin, candy corn, and graham crackers. So, I mean, that's not really a recipe for a powerhouse style fragrance, just in that sort of genre of scent notes. So I knew what I was kind of up against going in. I wasn't naive to that. But I'll say this had some moments where I thought, you know, it was going to pick up a little bit, but overall it was on the lighter side. I think like it burned well. There was a little bit of kind of like residue kind of forming on the top here, a little discoloration. I think my main issue with this is my fault, because I tend to not like blackout style jars, and this is like matte black. You don't see the flames through it. And because like I'm somebody, I will have something going on my counter and I will kind of walk away, and usually I'm like kind of keeping eyes across the room, checking out my flames, making sure you know, things are okay, doesn't need a trim, it's not catching a draft, any of that. This, because I couldn't really see it, I did let this go, and I think it was catching a draft one day because it's all kind of centered on one side, where one wick got a little bit more a little bit longer, a little bit more out of control than the others here, with like a tiny bit of carbon ball formation. Again, not excessively sooty or anything like that, but it is something that, like, going forward, I think I will probably stick with jars where I could see the flame through it, and I did kind of stick to that with my my second order that we'll talk about in a minute. But I mean, burning even, not really giving me any sort of problem, so to speak of. The scent was nice when I could smell it. Very creamy here. This is not like a overly spicy pumpkin. It was mostly kind of a creamy sort of graham cracker scent, with a little bit of that like extra sweetness from the candy corn in there, but yummy scent. And I'll be 100% honest, guys, I really didn't care what this one smelled like. I wanted this one for this label, this packaging. I had to have it. So I have absolutely no regrets in buying this candle. Will I buy it again next year if she offers it? Probably not. But again, I'm glad I tried this one. I'm glad I'm going to have this like little label here in my collection, because I think the artwork is fabulous. And I don't know the story behind her artwork here. Like, if you go on her her Etsy shop, which just reopened, if you go on her Etsy shop, each candle, she has sort of a like little story, you know, about the whatever the theme is of the candle. And I don't know like if there's an artist or where she gets this artwork from. I don't know, but it's like I haven't seen the prints here like in the artwork on these labels, I haven't seen like a million times before. So I don't know, maybe, I'm sure she's going to watch this video. Stephanie, if you see this and you want to ever chime in and share that with us, because on her Instagram, she has on occasion shared a little bit more like about the coconut wax and things like that, and different tips for her candles and things. So maybe she'll give us some more information on the artwork someday, because everyone who I have showed these to or has commented on how like the look here is just awesome, especially my Halloween lovers, my real true Halloween lovers. So I'm sure they would be loving to hear anything else you can share with us about the artwork on these candles. But that was October. And then I have one more from that first order. This was definitely a little bit better experience for sure. This is Ghost Stories. And again, like really cool. And you can see the Spooky Soul Candle Co on the side here. Awesome. This one is more of a translucence. You can see here I burned part of the way, and I feel like I burned this for a long time, and like I'm still not even to the halfway point. This scent, and on the bottom she does have little notes here, bonfire embers and marshmallows, but if you look either on her website or sometimes she shares things on Instagram as well on her shop page, there is a little bit more there. So for this one I jotted down rich maple, spicy clove, spooky smoke, earthy moss, woodsy oak, roasted marshmallow, and melted sugar. And you can tell like this is definitely more than just like your basic marshmallow fireside dupe. There is a dime a dozen marshmallow fireside dupes out there, and you know, I do enjoy a good smoky sort of marshmallow scent, but this I will say, and I have so many in my collection, especially right now, this one hits me differently than any of the others I have, which is really hard to do, and in a good way. This is like spooky outdoors. This is like not your cozy by the fire inside marshmallow sort of scent. This is like your outside campfire. There is a considerable amount of like earthiness to this fragrance that I get. Definitely getting some of that moss, getting some of that earthy quality with the oak in there. It's not heavy on the smoke. It's definitely a more smoky scent, but it's not like heavy suffocating level of smokiness. It's kind of just right. And the reason I didn't burn this more was because as I was getting into this closer to the end of October and now here in November, this I feel like is going to be a great winter scent as well, that I think will also pair very nicely with some of my tree scents. So I was kind of like, let me savor this a little bit more. I don't know if it will necessarily be back next year or not, but either way, I've got a lot more hours to go on this jar. And the sweetness of the marshmallow, like this is not marshmallow focused in my opinion, at least not yet. You know, that could change a little bit deeper into the jar here, but so far I'm not getting a ton of marshmallow. It's there's a little bit of that, but I'm definitely getting more of the like that outside fire pit, fire in the woods, campfire, that sort of feeling about this one. And I really like it. So the strength on this one, I will say, started a little light, but definitely has started picking up the longer I get into this burn. So I have no worries about this one. And plus this type of scent, I don't necessarily want this to blow me out of the house. I want it to be kind of a little bit more tame, especially if I'm going to try to layer it with some other scents. But this was Ghost Stories, and yeah, I would probably buy this again. So this was good. And because I had such a good experience with this one and the single wick, I said, I really want to try some other fragrances. I am a big believer in really giving smaller companies a fair shot. I feel like you cannot judge a company like based on just a very small experience, especially if you're judging it solely on the throw of the candle, because not every scent is going to give you a huge throw. Not every scent is created equal in that way. So like if it's a throw thing, like you have to, I feel like, try a different variety, try maybe a different category of scents and see how you do with that to really make up your mind. But I had enough of a positive experience that I wanted to go back in, and you know, I picked up some different things, and I will say of these, I have 3 here. I've started burning all 3 of them, and they're all definitely starting out a little bit stronger. So I'm really happy with that. But yeah, I like to give companies a fair shot. The only exception to that might be if I was having like a really bad burn experience. That might be a little bit different, but these have all burned like you can see it's so even. This one's really clean. I've been able to keep a little bit better eye on my wicks with this one being translucent glass. But yeah, other than it just being about the burn, if it's just about the scent, give some other ones a try and then make up your mind. So moving on to kind of part 2 here of this video, I made a second order. I don't know. In November, guys, what day is it? I don't even know. I made a second order recently, and I was going to share a first impressions video, except her shop was closed for a little bit while she was on vacation. So I said, let me just wait. I'll try burning these a little bit, and then I will share something once the shop is back open, and you guys can get on her little shop there and take a look for yourself and see if there's anything you want to pick up. Because she has a small business, quantities do tend to be more limited. So like I don't know, like I'm filming this while she's still closed, so I don't know what inventory looks like on these scents that I'm going to talk about. So I apologize in advance if something's gone by the time you get to look. But I did want to wait until she reopened the shop. So that's when I will be posting this. But yeah, definitely take a look either way. But in the first order too, if you caught that video, she included these like little Halloween extras. And then this time around, now that we're into a little bit more holiday scents, she included like these little Halloween ornaments. I'm going to show you. It's probably hard to see here, but like the little bat with the Santa hat, like how cute. There's a little ghost here. He's adorable. And this beautiful like spider jewel ornament. I mean, like she doesn't have to do stuff like that, but she did. And I've seen some other orders that other people have shared, and definitely she had things like that included as well. There was these little stickers here. They're kind of like spooky Christmas stickers. Like how cute. These are adorable. And the nice thing here, now I'm going to tell you guys, I operate on a policy of full transparency here on my channel. She included a handwritten thank you note here. She wrote me a nice little card inside here. I'm not going to read it out loud, but look at like the little spooky hands here, just beautiful. And and she didn't tell me she was doing this, but I could tell when the box was dropped off on my porch that that box was a little bit bigger than it needed to be for the 2 candles that I ordered. She included an entire free candle, just kind of as a thank you, I guess, because I did share her business here on my channel before, and she included an entire free candle, which who does that? Like, just so generous. But I do want to take this second to kind of clarify with you guys, and I messaged her privately as well, but I have a very hard time sort of accepting gifts. I am not like, there's certain accounts out there where you can tell they really kind of seek out PR, and a lot of their content is PR that they've received from companies or freebies and things like that. I don't operate that way. When I share something, it's genuinely because I enjoy it out of the goodness of my heart with no expectation of anything in return. I've never once asked a company to send me anything or to partner up with me or anything like that. And I have a really like funny feeling when people send me stuff. Like I don't have a PO box for that reason. Like I just don't like accepting things. That's just how I am. Like I'd rather give. So for her to include a whole candle like that, it really touched me. But I just want you guys to know, any business that I share, especially if you're a small business watching me, like if I buy something and share your company on my channel, like I don't expect anything in return. Obviously I'm very like thankful and grateful that she did that, and that's so sweet. But it's not expected. It's not the expectation. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there in full transparency. As you guys can see, I'm being honest here regardless of anything. So that's always how I operate, no matter what. So hopefully those of you who have been around with me for a while, you've kind of gotten that from me so far, but still wanted to kind of throw that out there before we go any farther here. But we're going to talk about the 3 candles that I picked. And guys, honestly, this order is even better than the first one. I'm so excited. Since I already showed you guys this one briefly, we'll start really quickly here with the first one that she sent me. This is Old World Christmas. Another like awesome label. Really kind of, her vibe is consistent through her product line, which is really, really cool. So whether it's Halloween or Christmas, or even some of like the more like everyday stuff that's on her website, like it is a consistent vibe, consistent style, and I really love that. This is a a red jar where you can see through. You've got a beautiful gold lid here. I mean, really nice packaging. Like it looks professional. It doesn't look sloppy by any means. Her label's on the bottom here. She gives you all kinds of information here. I don't even know how well you're going to be able to see this on the camera. Yeah, maybe there we go. It's like, you know, the burn time, scent notes, things like that, company information. Like it's very polished is what I'm trying to say. And for this scent, this has notes of, on the bottom it will say, let's see, orange and pomander and baking spices. I looked on her shop here. We have bright orange, warm cinnamon, ground nutmeg, creamy vanilla, black pepper, spicy clove, and aromatic allspice. Like this scent, it's not something I probably would have bought myself, but I like it. And I guess I've never necessarily considered myself a big orange fan. Like it's not something I dislike. Like I dislike grapefruit, but I do like orange. I just never really kind of gravitated to orange scents that way. But this is so nice. And it's different than I would have expected. It is much brighter. It's juicier. It's sweeter. It kind of has almost at times a little bit of a candy tone. Then you have those spices in there, which are pretty classic spices, like Christmassy sort of spices. And they're not heavy yet, at least to this point. I've only done, I think, 1 burn on this one. Wasn't coming across spicy so far. Definitely more orange focused, but definitely got a little bit of a warmth to that spice note that makes it feel a little bit more cozy rather than like a springy, juicy orange. But this was really nice. And this one has burned beautifully. And so here, guys, I'm going to show you something here. Hopefully you can see it. I left the wicks. I gave a very, very slight trim to start. I left them here now afterwards to show you. This was a burn of about 5 hours, I want to say. Not excessive carbon ball formation here. And the reason I left them long here to show you too was because what I have been finding is like the sort of just right for trimming is, you see how these wicks sort of curl in a little bit. What I have been doing and finding that it works pretty well is when I go to trim them before the next burn, I will trim them right about at the point where it starts to curl. And that seems to be kind of the sweet spot for me. So just like if you're new, like every brand, every time you're trying a new company or style, you have to kind of like find the right code here, like cracking the code. Like every brand has their quirks and the things that they, you know, work better with and things that, you know, you have to learn as you go. But that's what I've been finding is sort of the sweet spot for trimming my wicks, and just passing that along in case that helps you. And I've had no issues with pooling. And one thing I will add is that, and she just shared a post about this recently about like burning candles in the cooler months. And I'm finding this to be especially important with hers is because she has that coconut wax in there. And because that has like a little bit of an effect on how this melts down, I've been finding that an open sort of hurricane just helps trap the heat a little bit better during these colder months where my kitchen does tend to get a little bit drafty at times. So I'm not saying don't use like a tight hurricane. Don't use like the Yankee Candle jar holders, those really tight ones. Don't use something like that. Use something that's a little bit more open, but just gives it a little bit more insulation. It will help protect your candle from hitting drafts, which tend to lead to smoking and sooting, and it will also just insulate them a little bit, help trap that heat a little bit better. So if you're having trouble with pooling, that's something you can try, and something that I've been doing with these and finding, pretty good results with. But yeah, this is just a beautiful scent. Stephanie, thank you so much for sending this to me to try. I always love when I end up trying something and end up loving it, and it's something that I wouldn't necessarily have bought on my own. That's the best. So this is excellent, and I've got 2 more that I'm really enjoying as well. All right, if you are one of my Instagram people, I shared a post about this last week, and I think I forgot to share it to my wall here on YouTube. It was a crazy week, but this is when I started burning. One of my favorites here. This is Yule Cat. So now, like, this is a little bit more of that, like, Halloween lovers Christmas style, but still really consistent with her overall appeal here. This with a green jar. I love the green. My favorite color, black lid here. Again, just very polished, professional. I didn't write it down, but there is a whole story here about the Yule Cat on her shop. You can also find on her Instagram page as well. Yeah, really cool how you have like the little story with the concept here. And this scent is definitely more fitting for a sort of Halloween crossover scent. It's got a hint of Christmas here, but it also has that sort of spookier edge to it. The scent on the bottom here, red apples and evergreen. But again, looking on her page here, red apple, fir, juniper, cranberry, cedarwood, sugar, birch, clove, incense, sandalwood, smoke, and patchouli. Now, I don't know if she does like her own like oil blending, like, or if some of them I suspect might be single oils that she gets, but some of these feel like they're probably some sort of blend that she has concocted that is all her own. This feels like it's probably something a little bit more blended, because this is really unique. This is, it's fresh on cold here. You get that apple, but it's not overwhelmingly apple. It doesn't feel fallish. It feels like a sort of holiday red apple mixed with a little bit of the evergreen. I mean, those are definitely the most prominent notes, and that's probably why she used those as the standout notes to put on the jar. But those are definitely the most prominent notes that I get here, especially on cold. But as I was burning this, you start to get a little bit more of that spookiness. Now, I will say, I don't really get each of these things like jumping out at me in a huge way specifically, but you do have a little bit of a smoky tone. You have a little bit of an earthy tone here. I do get that birch, maybe a hint of a cranberry. There is a little bit of more of a tartness that comes out with the fruit note here when it's burning. So that's probably the cranberry. You do get some of the cedar wood here with that woodsy tone, but definitely geared for the more Halloween loving friend here, which most of her customers probably are. So like if you're one of those, you want something semi-holiday, but you still want that spooky all the time, like this is really nice. The strength has been decent so far. I think this one I burned twice. I don't know if you can kind of tell a little bit further down. No issues with pulling again, not with any sort of like massive carbon ball formation here on the wicks or anything like that. Just really nice, clean, even burn, and just like really nice scent. I think for me, because it has just slightly less holiday feel, I'm probably going to save this more for after Christmas and enjoy this in the winter months, because I think this will be a great sort of dull of winter scent, but excellent scent nonetheless. That is Yule Cat, and I have one more here for those looking for something slightly more traditional. All right, now this one I'll tell you guys was probably the driving force behind this purchase. This is the one I had my eye on the most, and I really love it. It is Yule, which we had Yule Cat, now we have Yule, another awesome label here. You can see like just by the tone that this is a little bit more traditional in style. Again, with the beautiful green, and this one has a gold lid. Just a beautiful, beautiful packaging here. I love it. So this one Now, I'm somebody who's kind of frequented the small business world as far as like candle makers, wax makers, things like that. After a while, when you've frequented this world, you start to notice certain scent notes listed that seem to be like kind of consistent between different companies where, you see that scent note profile and you can kind of figure out this is, an oil that smells like something you've smelled before, if that makes sense. This I bought thinking this sounds like something else that I've loved from other companies. And I'm very happy to say that this is exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. So yes, I've kind of smelled it before, but it's exactly what I wanted. So this one on the bottom here, we have spiced citrus and fresh fir. Taking it a little bit further, spiced citrus, crisp pine, fresh fir, cedar, amber, and moss. This is that sort of like hearth style fragrance that a lot of companies have some sort of version of this. Some, I think, add things to it, but this is sort of like that sort of kind of in the, I'll give you a couple comparisons. Kringle's Cozy Christmas, Bath and Body Works Winter, for my Caramel Sundays fans, Home for Christmas. Things with that sort of, you have that little bit of that citrusy spice with the little bit of a tree element. There's a little bit of a wood element, but just that sort of like hearth style fragrance. Now it's not a smoky scent. I get the orange tone here to it with that little bit of a spice there. I do get that fur, but like it has that sort of cozy feeling. So if you're familiar with things like winter, I would say this is a tad bit sweeter. It's not as sharp as something like Bath and Body Works Winter. It's definitely a smoother scent. But I just love it. And I talked about Cozy Christmas in a recent Kringle video, and I said there's another scent from a small business vendor that I'm going to be talking about soon. This is that scent if you watch that video. And I just, every time I see this on a scent list, it's like, it's a must try for me because I just love this style of fragrance. So this I have burned, again, starting out with pretty decent strength so far. No issues with burning, yet. So we will see how this goes. And I will probably follow up with you guys again at some point with my next order, which I'm already eyeing. She has talked about a couple new scents that were going to be showing up in her shop when she reopened. One was called Morning Tea. Morning as in like mourning a loved one, not good morning. A morning tea with her theme here. And then another one called La Befana. That is a sort of Italian folklore, character, creature, whatever you want to call it. If you guys can't tell by all my hand talking and dark features, I'm very Italian. So that one speaks to me. That one, it sounds a little bit more gourmand leaning. So again, might end up being a little bit light, but that's okay. I just want it for the concept. So hopefully I will be ordering again soon and have that to share with you guys. Maybe a little bit of an update, but again, I think I'm going to be saving Yule Cat for a little bit. But the other two I probably will be burning through my Christmas rotation here into the month of December. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys that little bit of a follow-up, point out some scents that I'm really liking right now in case you're shopping on her Etsy shop. And, keep her in mind when we come up to Small Business Saturday and things like that. Definitely keep these little shops in mind. They really do need the business. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And, thank you for taking the time out of your day to check this video out. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.